Hey, what up, YouTube? Alright, so I mentioned in the first video for building enclosures. Sorry, I need to smoke and drink at the same time, most times. So, in the first video, I mentioned that there were some small, minute details when doing a box, but the fact of the matter is there's no such thing as a small, minute detail. That was just like me being caffeine deficient. And I'm still caffeine deficient. I need my second cup like right now. This one's almost done anyway. So, one of the more important details as far as doing epoxy boxes is the environment. The environment is super critical when you're doing epoxy boxes. Most times when you do these boxes, it's like any other kind of medium. What's the other stuff called? Any kind of sealants or anything that gives off VOCs, you're going to want to either have very good breathing conditions, outdoor, preferably outdoor, or if you're like me where you work in the shed, you want your shed door open at all times and you want some circulation. You see my fan here too. So the environment is very critical. If you do epoxy on a day and the humidity outside is more than 75%, you're like on critical ground, because once humidity hits 80%, 90%, 100%, a lot of times that moisture in the air is going to not cause your epoxy to cure correctly. Or you might think that everything is cured correctly, and then you go to grab the box, and then next thing you know, you find one part is smearing off because it didn't cure right. So if you do find yourself in a situation where everything looks honky-dory, you're like, okay, well, the environment's good, it's not over 90. I've made boxes in 100-degree weather. I mean, this shed on some days can get up to 115, 120 degrees easily. I don't recommend working with epoxy in over 90-degree weather. I just don't. You can, but I just don't. If you're outside and you have direct sunlight, what'll happen a lot of times is you'll start to notice that you're getting yellowing or browning to occur with the epoxy. This is just a natural reaction of way too much UV light. Excuse me, way too much UV light on the epoxy. So very bright days, high humidity, reconsider just doing it at a different time or taking it indoors. As long as you got good ventilation, taking it indoors and keeping your epoxy work in between about 70 degrees and roughly about 88, 89 degrees. If it's below 65, cancel that project out for that day. You're going to have problems. It doesn't matter how many times you hit it with the heat gun or whatever. You're going to have problems. Something is not going to cure correctly somewhere. Whether you notice it right away or maybe even after you finish the project, you think everything's okay. You go put it in the trunk, and then next thing you know, you got uncured epoxy all over the bottom flooring of your car. You really don't want that. It's hard to clean. You can clean it, but it's very hard to clean. So take into consideration the environmental aspect when working with epoxy, hands down. Just as critical as your prep time. All right. So with that being said, that's video number 2. Environment, critical. Watch yourself. Peace.